Welcome back as we start a new organ system. We are in the cardiovascular system now, and we're going to start studying about blood. So, specifically, we're going to learn about the various functions and the composition of your blood. So, in your body, and remember, we're talking in generalities of a typical young adult male. um, you have approximately 5 liters of blood. And in case you don't know how that corresponds into quarts and gallons, a liter is bigger than a quart. So 5 liters of blood is about 1 1/3 gallons. And these 5 liters of blood have three major groupings of functions: transportation, defense, and regulation. So let's go through them one by one and look at the specifics of each. In the transportation, blood is the number one thing that carries things throughout your body. Okay, it's how we move substances throughout your body. And there's three different places in your body that we're looking to take substances to. We're looking to take things to your tissues, or to your lungs, or to your kidneys. Now, to your tissues, I'm talking about like all your organs, except for the lungs and the kidneys. And what we're looking to take there are oxygens and nutrients. So think of like the breakdown products of the food you eat. So we're taking the amino acids, the fatty acids, and the glucose molecules from the food you eat. We're taking those from like the digestive system, and then we're taking the oxygen from the air you breathe, and then we're taking that to all the various cells of your body so the cells can do their work. Remember that cellular respiration, where those cells require oxygen and nutrients so they can make all their ATP, so those cells can do work. Now, when those cells do work, they generate waste products. And one of those waste products, especially in the electron transport chain, was carbon dioxide. And so carbon dioxide is going to travel in your blood. We'll learn how later. And so when it gets to your lungs, we're going to be able to exhale it. Now, the other waste products we're going to carry in our blood to our kidneys, where they're going to be excreted in our urine. We do have a few other waste products that we excrete in our feces, but most of our waste products we're going to excrete in our kidneys. Our second major group of function has to do with defense. In our defense, one thing we have already talked about is the process of phagocytosis, where we have certain cells, when they meet up with, for instance, a foreign invader that doesn't belong there, they will engulf it. So if you haven't already learned that word phagocytosis, now is the time to make sure you know it. So a phagocyte is a cell that does phagocytosis, and the classic example of a phagocyte is going to be a macrophage, a big eater. Phago, remember, that means to eat. So a phagocyte is a cell that's eating something. A second function are going to be cells that make antibodies, and we'll learn what antibodies do when we study the immune system shortly. And a third function of our blood is we clot. If we get injured and cut a blood vessel, we're not going to be bleeding for the rest of our life. We are going to form blood clots, but we don't want all of our blood to clot, so we're going to learn what happens. Okay, so now let's look at our third function, and that is regulation. And we have three big areas of regulation. The first we've already talked about, and that's regulating your body temperature. We know that our skin, with its blood vessels, and as those blood vessels contract and or relax, the amount of blood that goes to the surface of our skin can help us sweat or not sweat, and thereby allow us to lose body heat or to conserve our body heat and thereby regulate our body temperature. Another way we regulate our body is its water content. So this is showing we have a little arteriole, which is going to a capillary bed. And in our capillary beds, we filter our blood, and most of the water in our blood actually leaves the blood into what we call the interstitium. And so we call it interstitial fluid. Now, due to the other contents in our blood, the solutes, the substances that are in our blood that are not water, this creates an osmotic pressure, which basically sucks the water back into the blood, and we reabsorb it back on the venous side. And the third thing that our blood regulates is our pH. We have various buffer systems, various chemicals in our blood, which help stabilize our blood pH. Now, we talked about blood pH previously. We know it goes from a scale from 0 to 14, as 7 is neutral. And so you've probably thought our body was a pH of 7. And I got to tell you, if our blood pH is 7, we're dead. Our bodies don't like a pH of 7. Our bodies operate in a very narrow zone, which is slightly alkaline. We like 7.35 to 7.45 for our normal blood pH range. Okay, so please don't think that our bodies are neutral with a pH of 7. They are not. They are right around 7.4. So 735 to 745. All right. So now when we look at our blood, you need to remember that blood was one of the types of connective tissue, and it was the one that had a liquid matrix. Okay, and if you remember, matrix was a ground substance and protein fibers. So you know we're going to have protein fibers and ground substance as well as scattered cells. So if we take blood and we put it in a test tube and we spin it in a centrifuge, here's what it's going to look like. So these numbers are for men once again. About 45% of your blood is going to be red blood cells. For women, it would be slightly less, around 40%. But remember, we're going with male numbers. 45% red blood cells, and 55% would be the matrix, the plasma. So the plasma is the extracellular matrix of blood. So yes, we do have white blood cells and platelets. They make up less than 1%. So we're just going to kind of forget about them for this blood composition. We're going with 45, 55. So let's look at those formed elements, the part that is not plasma. I'm going to remind you what red bone marrow looked like, and remind you that this is where hematopoiesis occurred. Remember hematopoiesis, which was the formation of all the blood cells. So this is where the red blood cells are made, where the white blood cells were made, and where the platelets were made. So this is a faraway picture, and here's an up-close picture. And you can see there's lots of mitotic cells here, and all these cells have nuclei. Okay, so here's where we're going to be forming the cells and then releasing them into the bloodstream. So in the bloodstream, we're going to have red blood cells. We're going to have 5 different types of white blood cells, which we'll learn about on a later video. And then we're going to have our platelets. So when we look at our blood, it does not look like red bone marrow. It looks like this in a blood smear. So when you look at blood, the first thing you notice is most of these cells do not have a nucleus, because I can point like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 of these cells have a nucleus. So the 6 cells that you see that have a nucleus would be cells here that have a nucleus. So those 6 cells are going to be white blood cells. All of these other bigger cells, which are just slightly smaller than The white blood cells, those are all red blood cells. So notice in your blood, red blood cells don't have a nucleus. So they lost their nucleus that they had when they were in your bone marrow. They lost it by the time it was in your blood, which means they're in the process of dying. They can't undergo mitosis in your blood. Mm-mm. And the other thing I want to point out, do you see these tiny little things like that one right there? And there's a little one right there. And if I put on my glasses, I can see other ones like there's one here and one here and one here and one here. Those tiny little things are cell fragments. Those are platelets. That's why I didn't call these cells, because platelets are not cells, as we will learn about in a subsequent video. Okay, so now let's talk about plasma. This is what your plasma looks like. If you take a pint of blood and then you spin the whole blood down and you separate the blood from the packed red blood cells and white blood cells, here's what the plasma would look like. So what is your plasma? Well, it's 90% water. Okay, so remember, that doesn't mean your blood is 90% water. Your plasma was 55% of those 5 liters, and the water is 90% of that 55% of those 5 liters. Okay. Now, 7% of your plasma are proteins, the vast majority of which are going to be made in your liver. So think about 90% of them are going to be made in your liver. So here's a pretty good diagram of the proteins. These that have an IG in front of them, like IgG, IgA, IgM, these are immune globulins, which is just another way of saying antibodies. Transferrin is a protein that carries iron when it's in your blood. Fibrinogen is a protein that has to do with blood clotting. These lipoproteins, apolipoproteins, these are proteins that carry cholesterol in your blood. But notice this one, albumin. More than 50% of the proteins in your blood are this protein albumin. And this is the one whose name you need to learn. This is the one that's giving that big osmotic pull I talked about. And this one is 100% made in your liver. So this one's very, very important. So that still leaves us with 3% of our plasma. Well, 2% is going to be other molecules, okay? So what other molecules are you thinking about? Stop and think, what else can you think about? Just come up with ions, nutrients, gases, hormones, vitamins, and waste products. Yeah, what specifically are you thinking about here? Come up with a couple of names. Okay, so here are some examples. We can have minerals such as calcium in our blood. We can have ions like sodium, potassium, magnesium, all kinds of things. We can have protein-based hormones like insulin. We can have steroid-based hormones like testosterone, fats like cholesterol I talked about already, and chylomicrons. Those are also our clotting factors. We can have things like erythropoietin, which we're going to talk about later on. Waste products, creatinine, you don't know what that is, but the waste product. How about vitamins? Vitamin D, which is needed for absorbing calcium. We've already talked about vitamin D. We talked about nutrients like sugars, and then gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide. We need those things, okay? Now, what's the other 1%? That's just the rounding error here, okay? So a lot of stuff carried in your plasma. It's pretty important. All right, thank you so much for this. We will come back soon where we are going to be learning all about the red blood cells. So I'll see you soon.